friends, so when I was old enough to ride a bike competently, but not yet old enough to ride it by myself, my dad and my brother and I would helmet up and ride down the hill and across the train tracks and behind the neighborhood pool to what was my very first bookstore. It was a Borders, may it rest in peace, but it was small and comfortable, and whenever we went there, my dad would let me pick out whichever book I wanted, whichever one, even that time that it was the unauthorized biography of Britney Spears. But then I got a little older and a little bigger, and so did my bookstore. Our cozy, quiet location shut down, and then became a shoe store, and then a Panera, and then a giant shrine to books, but mostly DVDs and CDs, remember those? Opened up down the street. By then I was in it for the free book, not so much the family bonding. And it was no coincidence that I'd go in, pockets lined with that Bed Bath & Beyond towel folding money, and leave with some solid mid-2000s emo albums about leaving this town and never coming back. By college, I had no bookstore. I was just broke AF and in possession of 3 different library cards. And in the tradition of my reading enablers being very metaphorically resonant, I owned nothing and nothing owned me. But when I moved back home, started putting down roots, I found my first independent bookstore, aptly titled A Room of One's Own. Feminist, yes, but they had regular books too, Dad. It's where some of my favorite books in my entire collection came from, like this one, or this. And I started reading all of the women and people of color that my baby social justice heart could handle. When I moved across the country at the end of last summer, a bookstore was one of the first places I found and made my own. It's bigger and more unfamiliar than the one I left behind, but still has enough quiet corners that I can play that game of where you choose a book at random and dramatically recite a passage to your friends, if they happen to visit, and if I happen to get to show them a place that's mine, all mine. So it happens that I can tell my life story in bookstores, but in the comments, I wanna know what thing or place you would use to tell your story. Go ahead and tell the whole thing if you've got time. If not, just go ahead and describe to me your favorite bookstore in detail. And if you like this video, you can consider subscribing. You can also find me on all my social medias in the links below. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.